Good morning. Happy Monday. I got the usual responses on my homeless video, stop enabling them. And it's an interesting topic, so I'll chase this rabbit for a bit. The number one response was the number one objection to my approach was that I didn't offer any solutions. And I absolutely did offer a solution insofar as there can be a solution. Homelessness can only be solved on a case-by-case basis. That's really the only way it can be solved. You're never going to get rid of homelessness. Ever since the first home was invented, there have been homeless people, and there will continue to be homeless people forever. Some people they're just made that way. They just aren't capable of functioning in society. They're just going to be homeless. So the only real thing that we can do is mitigate the damage, is to lessen the damage, lessen the impact on individuals and on society. And my solution is to stop enabling them, which will lessen the impact on individuals and society. Comfortable people don't make changes in their lives. If you're making a comfortable salary and you're comfortable where you're living and you're comfortable with who you're with, etc., you don't change any of those things. You don't change your job. You don't change your love interest. You don't change where you live. If you're comfortable, you don't make changes. And the same thing holds true for homeless people. If they're comfortable, they're not going to make changes. They're not going to make the changes that they need to do in their lives. So I'm not saying that I'm going to eliminate it, but there were less homeless people before we started doing these things, and there are more homeless people now after we're doing these things. And so one could assume that, there is a correlation at least between them, and probably a causation, because more often than not, correlation does mean causation. I'm going to get actuallys all over in my comment section from that statement, but usually correlation shows causation. Obviously, it doesn't prove it. I'm not saying it proves it, but usually if there's correlation, there's causation there. That's why they look for correlation, to find the causes of things. Anyway. So, and this works the same way as everything else. We incentivized women to be single mothers. Here's how much money we're going to give you per kid to be a single mom, and there's single moms everywhere. We're going to make it easy for people to get divorced, no fault divorce. All of a sudden, everybody's getting divorced. It's when you incentivize things, people do them. There's a reason why people are crossing our border to come into the U.S. and not crossing the border from the U.S. into Mexico. It's because there's no incentive for them to go there. I mean, illegally. There's no incentive for them to go there. There's an incentive for them to come here. There's benefits. There's better job opportunities, etc. So there's an incentive for them to come this way. There's no incentive for them to go that way. People follow the incentives. And homeless people are people, so they're going to do the same things. And the other thing is, people like in my comment section were saying things like, "Oh, well, California has really nice weather," and that's part of the reason why. It's just that homeless people go there because California has really nice weather. Well, in 2017, I'm going to say, my wife and I went up to Vancouver, and along the way we stopped in Portland on the way up and on the way back because she has a friend who lives there, and we wanted to stop and visit them. And in Portland and Vancouver, there were just an amazing amount of homeless people. And Vancouver, for those of you who aren't aware, is north of Seattle. It is actually right across the border into Canada. And it gets super duper duper cold up there in the winter. And there were still a whole bunch of homeless people. And Portland, it gets some snow, but it gets a lot of rain. I mean, it can't be comfortable being homeless there. And I mean, it rained the whole time we were there. It rained every day that we were there. I mean, it didn't rain the whole time. There'd be patches where it wasn't, but it rained every day that we were there. I mean, there's just a ton of rain. So it's not the beautiful California sunshine that you're getting down in Southern California. But people also, there's a lot of homeless people in San Francisco. And San Francisco never gets snow or anything like that, but it's cold. It's cold there. You get that ocean, that breeze coming off the ocean, or you get that morning fog off the bay, and it's nippy, And they have a ton of homeless people in San Francisco. I mean, it's just crazy. So I don't think it's the weather that is making people want to be homeless or desirous of being homeless. I think it's other. But I don't necessarily know that it's the incentives that make people want to be homeless, but I think it's the incentives that these cities are giving that are making homeless people want to live in those cities. Because San Francisco, I think they spend I've heard numbers anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 per homeless person on benefits for homeless people, and that's not counting all of the charities, all the churches that feed them and give them places to sleep and all these other things. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, you're not going to go hungry. America's the only place I know where we have fat homeless people. They're not. It's not a hard life for them, and so they don't change. So, my only suggestion is that we stop doing things that incentivize them. And there was a time when we didn't incentivize them, and there were fewer homeless people. And it wasn't perfect, but it was better than it is now. So let's go back to then instead of saying now. It's like the only thing worse than a Republican is a Democrat. They're both basically the same. The only difference is that the Republican wants to give you everything the Democrat wants to give you, just with a 2% tax break. But we chase these social programs that we just throw millions after billions of dollars into these social programs that just don't work. And it's always, well, we just need more funding. We just need more funding. I had a coworker who worked, I want to say it was Nevada County, and they worked at a shelter, and the shelter was empty all the time. It was empty because you had to be sober to go there to sleep, and so the homeless people didn't want to go there. They didn't want to be sober, so they didn't go there to sleep, and it was empty all the time. And they kept begging for more money because they have to keep this shelter going that no one is sleeping in. I mean, it would be a rare night where one person was sleeping in there, and that would only be if it was snowing. It's just insanity the way we throw money at this, and it's all in the name of being kind. And being kind isn't necessarily being good. Being kind isn't necessarily helping people, and helping people isn't necessarily helping people. Like sometimes you gotta let people fail in order for them to learn how to do something. Sometimes you gotta let them do it. If my dad hadn't made me fix my car, if my dad hadn't been like, no, you're fixing it, I'll be here. And if you run into an issue, I'll be able to tell you how to do it, but you're going to do it all. You are going to do it all. You're going to be the one turning the wrench. If my dad hadn't done that, then, I would be useless fixing a car today, but I know how to do most kind of basic things on a car. I've replaced a transmission before. I could do basic things. And I wouldn't, if my dad hadn't done that, if he hadn't been, stern with me, then I wouldn't know how to do it. And there have been situations in my life where I've needed to be able to do stuff like that. And, God bless him for having done that. He could have been kind and just done it for me, but that wouldn't have helped me. It wouldn't have helped me in the long run. It wouldn't have helped me. There's the old sign, give a man a fish. I can't do the Joe Biden version, but the standard version is give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll be able to eat for the rest of his life. Well, the thing is, you have to force some people to learn how to fish. Some people don't want to be taught how to fish, and they would rather just coast through life getting their daily fish as a handout. And if we give them their daily fish as a handout, there's no incentive on them to learn to fish. That's all I'm saying. If that's too mean for you, then fine. I guess that's too mean for you. But don't try to come into my comments and pretend that you're better than me because I just want to take care of. go piss up a rope. You're not. You're not better than me. And you're not helping them. You're not helping them. You're hurting them. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.